Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today I have something really interesting to share with you all. And honestly, when I first pulled these cards for Gemini, I had to sit with them for a while because the message here is so specific and so needed right now. If you're a Gemini watching this, I really think you're going to resonate with what's coming through before we get into the actual reading. I just want to say that the energy around Gemini right now feels very much like you're at this crossroads where your natural gifts are being tested in a really specific way. You know how Gemini energy is all about communication, quick thinking, adaptability. But what's coming through here is that your career path is asking you to go deeper than just being the smart person in the room. It's asking you to trust something that maybe feels a bit uncomfortable for an air sign. And that's your intuition over the noise of what everyone else thinks you should be doing, alright? So let me just shuffle these cards here, and we're going to see what specific guidance is coming through for Gemini regarding career, and this whole theme of intuition versus external pressure. I'm pulling 6 cards for this reading, and I'm going to go really deep into each one because I feel like this message needs that level of attention. Okay, so the first card I'm pulling here is the Page of Wands, and can I just say, this is such a Gemini energy card to begin with. The Page of Wands is all about new beginnings, fresh enthusiasm, and this curious approach to opportunities. But here's what's interesting about this card, showing up first in a reading about trusting your intuition over workplace pressure. The Page of Wands is someone who is excited about possibilities, but hasn't fully committed to a path yet. They're in this exploratory phase where everything feels exciting and new for you, Gemini. This card is showing me that there's a new opportunity or a new direction in your career that you're genuinely excited about. This isn't something that someone else told you to pursue or something that looks good on paper. This is something that when you think about it, you feel this spark of genuine enthusiasm. Maybe it's a project you want to pitch, maybe it's a completely different role within your company, or maybe it's something outside of your current workplace altogether. But here's the thing about the Page of Wands that I think is really important for you to understand right now. This card appears when you're being called to follow that spark of inspiration, even when it doesn't make logical sense to everyone around you. Pages in tarot are messengers and students. They're not the masters yet. They're in the learning phase. And I think what's coming through here is that you're being asked to be okay with being a beginner again, with following something that excites you even if you're not the expert yet. The workplace pressure that's being referenced in this reading, I'm seeing it's coming from people who want you to stay in your lane, who think you should focus on what you're already good at rather than branching out. And as a Gemini, I know that feels suffocating because your whole thing is versatility and learning new things. But what the Page of Wands is saying is that your intuition about this new direction is correct. That spark of excitement you feel, that's not random. That's your inner guidance system telling you that this path has something important for you. I'm also getting that this might involve communication or sharing ideas in a new way. The Wand suit is all about creativity and passion. And for Gemini specifically, I'm seeing this could be about using your voice or your ideas in a more authentic way than you have been. Maybe you've been holding back certain ideas because they don't fit the corporate mold or they seem too unconventional. The Page of Wands is encouraging you to start expressing those ideas anyway, even in small ways at first. One more thing about this card before we move to the next one. The Page of Wands carries messages from the realm of inspiration and creativity. So, if you've been getting these random ideas or sudden insights about your career direction, pay attention to those. Those aren't distractions. Those are your intuition speaking to you. And even if the people around you can't see the vision yet, that doesn't mean the vision isn't valid. Pages often have to prove themselves, and that's okay. You're in the phase of gathering your evidence and building your case through action, not through convincing others with words first. The second card here is Justice, and wow, this is such a powerful card to come up in this position. Justice is card number 12 in the major arcana, and it's all about balance, fairness, truth, and the consequences of actions. But in the context of your career and this theme of trusting your intuition, Justice is bringing a very specific message. Justice is telling me that there's a situation in your workplace where things are not balanced right now. This could be about workload, recognition, compensation, or even just the way decisions are being made. And here's what's really important. Your intuition is picking up on this imbalance even if you can't fully articulate it yet. You might be feeling like something is off, but when you try to explain it to others, or even to yourself, it sounds like you're being too sensitive or overthinking. But Justice is confirming that no, you're not imagining this. There is an actual imbalance, and your intuitive sense of fairness is correct. The workplace pressure you're experiencing might be related to people trying to maintain a status quo that benefits them but doesn't serve you or doesn't serve the highest good of the projects you're working on. And they might be very good at making it seem like their way is the logical way, the professional way, the way things have always been done. Justice holds a sword and scales. The sword represents truth and clarity, cutting through illusion. The scales represent balance and weighing all factors. What I'm getting here is that you need to trust your internal sense of what's fair and what's right, even when others are trying to convince you otherwise. Your intuition is showing you where the scales are tipped and where truth is being obscured by politics or convention. This card is also about cause and effect. Justice reminds us that decisions have consequences and that the truth will eventually come out. So if you're in a situation where you're being pressured to go along with something that doesn't feel right intuitively, Justice is saying that following that pressure will have consequences down the line. Conversely, if you follow your intuition even when it's difficult, that will also have consequences, but they'll be the kind that align you with truth and integrity. I'm also seeing with Justice that there might be a decision you need to make about your career path. This isn't a decision that can be made purely with pros and cons lists or by asking everyone's opinion. This is a decision that requires you to tune into your internal sense of rightness. What feels balanced for your life? What feels true to who you are? Justice isn't asking you to be selfless or to sacrifice yourself for some greater good. Justice is asking you to honor what's fair and balanced for you, not just for your employer or your team or your family's expectations. There's also something here about legal matters or contracts potentially. If you're dealing with any kind of negotiation, contract review, or legal situation related to your career, your intuition is going to guide you better than just looking at the paperwork. There might be something between the lines that your gut is picking up on. The third card I pulled is 8 of Pentacles, and this one made me pause because it's showing me something really specific about the nature of mastery and dedication. The 8 of Pentacles depicts someone who is focused on their craft, working diligently on perfecting their skills. This is the card of the dedicated worker, the person who shows up every day and does the work in the context of trusting your intuition over workplace pressure. The 8 of Pentacles is revealing something important about where you're putting your dedication and focus. I'm seeing that you might be in a situation where you're being pressured to develop skills or work on projects that don't actually align with where your intuition is guiding you. Maybe your workplace wants you to get certified in something or specialize in an area that doesn't excite you, but it's what they need or what looks good for advancement. But here's what the 8 of Pentacles is actually saying. Your dedication and work ethic are not in question. You're absolutely willing to put in the effort and do the detailed work, but your intuition is telling you that you need to direct that dedication towards something different than what others expect. Maybe there's a skill set you're drawn to developing that seems tangential to your current role. Maybe there's a way of working or a methodology that you're intuitively pulled toward that doesn't match the company culture. The 8 of Pentacles is giving you permission to be just as dedicated and hardworking, but in service of what your intuition knows is the right path for you. This isn't about being lazy or uncommitted. This is about being committed to the right things for your journey. And sometimes that means saying no to prestigious opportunities that don't align with your inner knowing. I'm also getting that you might be in a phase where you're quietly developing skills or working on something on the side that you haven't told many people about yet. The Eight of Pentacles can indicate apprenticeship and learning. Your intuition might be guiding you to prepare for something before it's obvious to others what you're preparing for. Trust that process. The person in the Eight of Pentacles card is working alone, focused on their craft. Sometimes we need to trust our intuition enough to work in solitude on what we know is important. Even before we have external validation, there's also an element here about quality over speed. Workplace pressure often demands quick results, fast turnarounds, constant productivity. But your intuition might be telling you that for this particular path you're on, you need to slow down and do things properly. You need to build a solid foundation. The Eight of Pentacles is methodical. Each pentacle is being crafted with care. This isn't about rushing to the finish line. This is about trusting that the time you're investing in doing things the right way, your way, will pay off even if it's not the fastest route. Another aspect of this card is about taking pride in your work. When you follow your intuition about what work to dedicate yourself to, you'll naturally feel more pride and satisfaction in what you create. Versus when you're just doing what you're told to do to meet external expectations. The work might be good, but it doesn't carry that same energy of authenticity. The Eight of Pentacles is encouraging you to notice the difference in how you feel about your work when it's aligned with your inner guidance versus when it's just checking boxes for someone else's agenda. The fourth card is Ten of Swords and okay. I know this card can look really dramatic and scary in a lot of tarot decks. But stay with me because this card is actually bringing an important message about endings and mental patterns. The Ten of Swords represents a cycle that has completely ended, often painfully. But it also represents the dawn of a new day because in traditional imagery, the sun is rising in the background dot in relation to trusting your intuition over workplace pressure. The Ten of Swords is telling me that there's a way of thinking or a mental pattern that needs to end for you. Swords are all about thoughts, beliefs, and mental constructs. And I'm seeing that you've been carrying certain beliefs about what success looks like, what you should be doing with your career, what's logical or practical. And these beliefs have been weighing you down like swords in your back. These beliefs probably didn't originate with you. They came from family, society, education system, corporate culture. They're the voices that tell you to be realistic, to not take risks, to follow the proven path, to do what makes sense to other people. And every time you've tried to follow your intuition about your career, these mental swords have stabbed you with doubt and criticism and fear. The Ten of Swords is saying it's time to let these thought patterns die. And yes, it might feel painful or dramatic to release beliefs you've held for a long time. It might feel like defeat to admit that the path you thought you should be on isn't actually your path. But here's the gift of the Ten of Swords. Once something has completely ended, you're free. The worst has already happened. The swords have already fallen. Now you can get up and walk toward that sunrise with a completely fresh perspective. Your intuition has been trying to guide you away from these limiting beliefs. But the workplace pressure keeps reinforcing them. Every time someone questions your choices or tells you to be more practical, it's like another sword. But you're at the point now where you can recognize these external opinions for what they are. Just thoughts, just perspectives, not ultimate truth. They don't have power over you unless you give them power. I'm also seeing with the Ten of Swords that there might be a specific situation at work that needs to end. Maybe it's a role that's no longer serving you, or a project that's draining you, or a work relationship that's become toxic. Your intuition has probably been telling you for a while that this needs to end, but you've been resisting because endings are hard and scary. The Ten of Swords is saying that sometimes the kindest thing the universe can do is force an ending so that you're free to begin something new. This card can also represent betrayal or feeling backstabbed. And if you've experienced that at work, I want you to know that the Ten of Swords validates that pain. but it also shows you that you're not defeated by it. You're released by it. That situation that felt so devastating actually freed you from a path that wasn't right for you. Your intuition knew before your conscious mind did that you needed to be out of that situation. The mental clarity that comes after the Ten of Swords is profound. It's like you've been operating under fog and illusion, and suddenly the air is clear. You can see what actually matters. You can see where you've been giving your power away to others' opinions. You can see how the workplace pressure was built on a foundation of fear rather than truth. And once you see it clearly, you can't unsee it. That clarity becomes your foundation for trusting your intuition moving forward. The fifth card here is Three of Wands, and this is such a hopeful, expansive card to come up after the Ten of Swords. The Three of Wands shows someone standing on a cliff looking out at the horizon, watching their ships come in. This is the card of expansion, planning for the future, and reaping the rewards of risks taken. For Gemini and this career reading, the Three of Wands is showing me that when you trust your intuition over workplace pressure, you're actually opening yourself up to opportunities that are much bigger than what's currently available in your present situation. The workplace you're in right now might feel like the whole world, but your intuition knows there's a much wider horizon out there. The Three of Wands is about having vision. It's about being able to see beyond the immediate circumstances and understand where things are heading. And this is where your intuition becomes so valuable. Logic and workplace pressure will keep you focused on the next quarter, the next promotion, the next small step. But your intuition is showing you a completely different horizon. It's showing you possibilities that don't even exist in your current framework. I'm getting that you might be feeling called to expand beyond your current industry, or beyond your current role, or beyond your geographical location. The Three of Wands has energy of exploration and enterprise. This could be about starting your own venture, or taking your skills to a global platform, or collaborating with people from different fields. Your intuition is showing you these bigger possibilities. But the workplace pressure wants you to stay small and safe, and focused on maintaining what already exists. The ships in the Three of Wands represent ventures that you've already set in motion, even if you don't realize it yet. Every time you've followed your intuition, even in small ways, you've sent out a ship. Every time you've said yes to something that excited you or no to something that felt wrong, you've set something in motion. And the Three of Wands is saying those ships are coming back with abundance and opportunities. You won't see the results immediately, but your intuitive decisions are creating your future reality. This card also speaks to the importance of patience and trust in the process. The person in the Three of Wands isn't frantically trying to make things happen. They're standing confidently, knowing that their preparations and their choices have set things in motion, and now they're watching it unfold. Your intuition operates on a different timeline than workplace pressure. Workplace pressure wants immediate results, constant action, measurable outcomes. But intuition says trust the process, give things time to develop. Know that what's meant for you is already on its way. There's also collaboration energy with the Three of Wands. I'm seeing that your intuition might be guiding you toward partnerships or collaborations that don't make obvious sense from a career standpoint, but feel right on an energetic level. Maybe it's someone from a completely different field who you feel drawn to work with. Maybe it's a project that seems unrelated to your main career, but your intuition keeps pulling you toward it. The Three of Wands says these intuitive connections are going to lead to expansion in ways you can't predict right now. The sixth and final card is the Chariot, and this is such a powerful card to end on because it's all about determination, willpower, and moving forward with purpose. The Chariot is card number 8 in the major arcana, and it shows someone who has harnessed opposing forces and is now directing them toward a clear goal. In the context of trusting your intuition over workplace pressure, the Chariot is showing me that you absolutely have the strength and determination to follow your intuitive guidance even when it goes against the grain. The Chariot is not a card of passive receiving. This is active forward movement. This is taking control of the direction of your life and career. What's really interesting about the Chariot appearing here is that it represents mastery over duality. The traditional image shows two sphinxes or horses pulling the chariot in different directions. But the charioteer has learned to direct both forces in one unified direction. For you as a Gemini, this is especially significant because Gemini is the sign of the twins, the sign of duality. You're constantly feeling pulled in different directions. The workplace pressure is one force pulling you towards safety, convention, external validation. Your intuition is another force pulling you toward authenticity, risk, internal knowing. The Chariot is saying you don't have to choose between being practical and being intuitive. You don't have to choose between being successful and being authentic. You can harness both forces. You can use your logical mind and your intuition. You can be ambitious and aligned, but you have to be the one in control, directing where you're going. The Chariot also represents victory through discipline and focus. When you trust your intuition about your career direction and you commit to that path with determination, you become unstoppable. The scattered energy that comes from trying to please everyone and follow every external directive gets focused into laser-like clarity. You know where you're going and why, and that internal certainty creates external momentum. I'm seeing with the Chariot that there's a journey ahead that's going to require courage and stamina. Following your intuition doesn't mean everything becomes easy. It means that the challenges you face are in service of something that actually matters to you. The Chariot moves forward through contested territory. There will be obstacles. There will be people who don't understand or support your choices. But when you're aligned with your intuition, you have the inner resources to keep moving forward. The Chariot is also about emotional control and mental focus. Workplace pressure often comes with a lot of emotional manipulation, whether intentional or not. Fear of disappointing people, guilt about not meeting expectations, anxiety about financial security. The Chariot is teaching you that you can acknowledge those emotions without being controlled by them. You can feel the fear and move forward anyway because your intuition is showing you something more important than comfort. There's also an element of public success with the Chariot. This isn't just about private fulfillment. When you trust your intuition and move in the direction it's guiding you, you will achieve visible success. But it will be success on your own terms, not success that's defined by others. The Chariot represents being recognized and celebrated, but for who you actually are and what you've actually created from your authentic path, not for fitting into a mold. So looking at all 6 cards together, the message for Gemini is really clear. You're being called to trust your intuition about a new direction in your career that excites you, even though it might not fit conventional expectations. There's an imbalance in your current situation that your intuition is correctly identifying, and you need to honor your inner sense of what's fair and right. Your dedication and work ethic should be directed toward what your intuition knows is the right path, not what others expect. Old thought patterns and limiting beliefs about your career need to end so you can embrace a new mental clarity. This will open you to much bigger opportunities and expansion than what's available in your current framework. And you absolutely have the strength and determination to follow through on your intuitive guidance and achieve success on your own terms. Asterisk, I hope this reading resonated with some of you Geminis out there. If you felt like this message was meant for you, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. What part of the reading hit home the most? And remember, your intuition is always speaking to you. The question is whether you're brave enough to listen and follow where it leads, especially when everyone else has a different opinion about what you should do. Alright, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.